What's survive with minimal propulsion, mostly drifting on the current. Others, like sea slugs, can't run, but they can hide. Their defense first emerged 500 million years ago, during the Cambrian time period. While predatory fishes evolved backbones, some of their prey evolved a new and effective defense.
Around the time of the Cambrian explosion, a very important event in the history of life occurred. That was the evolution of the first hard parts. These hard parts led to the evolution of hard body coverings in a wide variety of animals.
Like a suit of armor, these hard parts, shells or exoskeletons, are protective but constraining. Shelled creatures often shuffle slowly along the seafloor. Well defended, they adapted a completely different way of getting fast to capture their prey. Like a heavyweight boxer, they might not win a sprint race, but they pack a lightning-fast punch. And pound for pound, the fastest, most powerful punch in all of nature belongs to a shrimp.
There isn't a muscle fast enough on the planet to generate the kind of speeds that we see in the mantis shrimp.
Biologist Sheila Patek studies the mantis shrimp, the owner of the fastest strike in the sea. Just 4 inches long, the mantis shrimp can shatter the glass of a fish tank and crack open crabs like they were eggshells.
They happen to like eating crabs, and it's interesting and a little bit scary to watch them eat crabs because they'll swim after them very quickly, hammer them, and they hammer them so hard that all of the legs generally pop off the crab.
Scaled up to human size, the shrimp would be a fighter with a fist that could smash through concrete. Until now, no one has ever really understood how the small but mighty shrimp could pack so much speed into its punch, and Patek was determined to find out how it worked. Patek would have to slow the punch down so she could see what was happening. She heard about a unique video system designed by NASA, powerful enough to shoot at over 5,000 frames per second, more than 100 times faster than a standard camera.
We have this video camera rolling right now, and it's continuously collecting data. It's continuously collecting images at a really high rate. What we're doing is we're waiting for the mantis shrimp to strike the snail.
Nice.
Okay.
For the first time ever, these videos allow the team to calculate the punch's speed.
With this particular species, the peacock mantis shrimp, we've recorded speeds of over 19 meters per second, which is 50 miles an hour. On top of this, they're accelerating at over 100,000 times the force of gravity.
The punch's speed is 2 times faster than scientists had imagined, with the acceleration of a bullet from a gun. Patek knew that no muscle on the planet can move this fast, and yet, pictures don't lie. Carefully analyzing each frame of the video, Patek pieced together the shrimp's secret weapon, its shell.
Mantis shrimp have a big, slow muscle that they slowly contract, store up all kinds of elastic energy in the system, and then when they're ready to strike, they release a little latch, and then the limb flies out at extremely high speeds.
In engineering, the design principle of elastic energy gets used in crossbows, catapults, and the full-throttle explosiveness of a fighter jet, jumping off a carrier deck when the restraining hook is released. Like loading a catapult, the shrimp slowly peels its arm back, storing energy by compressing muscles in several spots, including a specialized saddle-shaped structure within the shell. A latch holds the arm in place. When the latch is tripped, the compressed shell snaps back to its original shape, propelling the punch forward with lethal speed. Instead of limiting its speed, shells give these creatures a strike too fast to be seen.
One could imagine, over evolutionary time, that this appendage was able to become faster and faster, especially because of the origin of this latch mechanism. Once this mechanism evolved and became sort of a key characteristic in this group, this allowed them to diversify into a number of different niches.
Other invertebrates use the same catapult mechanism, from the smashing speed of an ant's trap jaw to the springy strength of a grasshopper's knees. But even the enormous speed of the shrimp's punch couldn't account for its glass-shattering power. Patek knew there was more to the story and found it in the soundtrack.
Oh, nice. Okay.
All
So
right.
let's take a closer look. So you can see that there are two peaks of sound. So there's a burst of noise here and then a second one. And they're about 4/10,000th of a second apart. So half a millisecond apart.
The second hit, Patek realized, must have been created by an exploding air bubble, a powerful byproduct of speed known as a cavitation bubble. Cavitation bubbles appear when objects like boat propellers vaporize the water surrounding it, creating bubbles loaded with intensely compressed energy. When the bubbles burst, the energy is suddenly released, creating shock waves strong enough to damage steel. It's a 1-2 punch, and it gives the shrimp a guaranteed knockout.
They generate thousands of times their body mass in peak force. And that's what's really impressive. They're fast, they have high accelerations, but their force is pretty much unmatched.
From a faster swim to a deadlier strike, both vertebrates and invertebrates evolved to use speed to stay one step ahead of the competition. While predation made the seas a brutal and dangerous world, 350 million years ago, the land was brimming with opportunity.
Living on land brought a whole suite of new physical challenges to the earliest tetrapods. Living on land required dealing differently with gravity, whereas water is much more buoyant. Gravity is much more of a major force on land.
The first fish to push their way onto the muddy earth are strange four-limbed creatures called tetrapods. They were slow, but a single change in their body design would lead to the speed of the cheetah, racehorses, and every fast animal on land today. How did these ancestors of amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals adapt their fishy bodies to fight gravity?
About 300 million years ago, these guys crawled out on land, and they really haven't changed all that much since.
Biologist Stephen Riley studies the Pacific giant salamander. An amphibian, it's the closest living relative to the original tetrapods.
This animal is as good as an example of the first four-legged animals to go out on land. It has this sprawling posture.
The salamander's legs have to function both in water and on land. They are placed to the side of the body. In water, they function like the paddles on a boat, but they are still able to push along on land. Like many compromises, it's an imperfect system, as Riley demonstrates.
This instrument that we've built will measure the animal pushing on the ground up and down, and forwards and backwards, and also side to side. Now you can see he's kind of a slowpoke, and he doesn't like to walk very far. Okay, buddy.
Riley's track collects force data as the animal walks across. The data shows that the walk is wildly inefficient. The splayed limbs of the salamander move it up and down more than forward. This system is enough for an amphibian that only spends a portion of its life on land. Animals living on land full-time would need a better system or die from an inability to catch prey and escape from predators.
There he goes. Beautiful.
One of the first land-dwelling animals to evolve from the amphibians were reptiles, like the Schneider skink.
One of the mysteries we're trying to understand is how did these animals change to become a very fast-running animal like a lizard?
To see exactly what changes between the slow salamander and the fast lizard, Riley combines his force data with high-speed video. The footage shows the key transformation, from paddles on a boat to rubber on the road.
Salamanders always put their feet in the same place relative to their body as they're walking. They don't bring their legs underneath them. Whereas lizards have been shown that as they go faster, they bring their legs underneath their body.
Underneath their bodies, the reptile's legs can move them forward without having to lift them up and down. The reptile's adaptation to life on land was an evolutionary landmark. From those first running reptiles 280 million years ago to thoroughbred racehorses today, every fast-moving land animal takes advantage of the same basic body structure.
One of the things that all the fast animals have in common is that the limbs have been moved under the body. So if you look at a horse or a cheetah or a dog, you'll notice that their limbs are moved underneath the body so they can swing underneath and the body can travel on top of them.
Fast and deadly, reptiles grew to dominate life on Earth. Their cousins, the dinosaurs, grew to enormous size, so large that some stood up and had to find new ways to run on 2 feet or die.
This may have just been a meteorite. However, I don't believe that.
After the flash,
And all run on legs direct.